Hi, I apologize for the length of the video, but I got a lot to talk about, so let's just get into it. Let's talk about the Nazi Bell, right? A purported top-secret Nazi scientific technological device or secret weapon. To me, this is an older version of Cern, yet that they've had this technology and been messing with this stuff since back then, the World War II era, and have been doing it for much longer than that. That's what I want to show you today. Discussion of the Bell originated in works of Igor Witowski. Let's see. He first discovered the existence of the bell by reading transcripts from an interrogation of a former Nazi SS officer. Although no evidence of the veracity of Witowski's statements has been produced, they reached a wider audience than when they were retold by British author Nick Cook, who adds his own views to Witowski's statements in The Hunt for 0 Point. See, this is all very interesting stuff. We're all talking about particle acceleration and all this anti-gravity, the experiments they're running with CERN. And I don't think this thing was just a myth. I don't. Allegedly experiment carried out by the Third Reich scientists working for the SS in a German facility known as the Giant. See, that's a reference to the fallen angels, to me, the demons, the Nephilim, near this mine and close to the Czech border. The bell is described as being a device made out of a hard, heavy metal, approximately 2.7 meters or 9 feet wide and 12 to 15 feet high. 936, 369. So this is why I believe in this stuff. 2.7 or 27, right? And coincidentally enough, that's how long or how round, wide, or whatever the tunnel of Cern is. 27 or 9. Having the shape similar to that of a large bell. The device contained two counter-rotating cylinders, sounds like vortexes, which would be filled with a mercury-like substance, violet in color. See, this sounds like just a reference to everything we've been talking about. Vortexes, right? Thing that's on the planet Saturn. The violet, it's purple. That's the color of royalty. It's the color of the androgyny of the fallen angels. It's the color of power. It's a mixture of the red and blue. It's a mixture of, it's just the spiritual, the physical. It's all that stuff. Witowski states that the ruins of a concrete framework, dubbed the Henge, see, we think Stonehenge is a Stargate. Sounds like more reference to the Stargates. May have once served as a test rig for an experiment in anti-gravity propulsion generated by the bell. And what's interesting about this thing is they say that one of them says that it ended up in a Nazi-friendly South American country, right? And the FBI is saying, just got declassified, a year or two ago, reported mainstream media that the United States helped Hitler escape to Argentina, while the other guy, on the other hand, states that it moved to the United States as part of a deal made with SS General Hans Kammler. So to me, this thing is not some myth. It's some technology, some super secret technology that they've been keeping from us, that they're messing with. This is just CERN. They're just doing the same story over and over again with this thing. And I find it very interesting because there's theory that we're stuck in this thing, that we're trapped in this thing, which is these things, these CERNs, could possibly be mini-me's or pocket universes. And there's this episode of The Twilight Zone called 5 Characters in Search of an Exit. And it sounds a whole lot like, to me, that they're trapped inside the Nazi bell. A uniformed army major wakes up to find himself trapped inside a large metal cylinder where he meets a hobo, a ballet dancer, a bagpiper, and a clown. Cylinder, right? This thing said down here. Device made having a shape containing 2 counter-rotating cylinders. A hobo, a ballet dancer, a bagpiper, and a clown. Clown Saturn. That's the Joker. That's the jester. That's the thing that comes in and disrupts things. None of them have any memory of who they are or how they became trapped. The Major, being the newest arrival, is the most determined to escape. He is told there is no way out except the ceiling, which is too high to reach, but nonetheless he investigates and perseveres. The characters question where, what, and who they are. The ballerina informs the Major, we are in the darkness, nameless things with no memory, no knowledge of what went before, no understanding of what is now, no knowledge of what will be. Sounds a whole lot like this reality. Guesses are made about the nature of where they have been placed. The ballerina speculates that they are on another planet or spaceship, or that they are insane and are perceiving a mirage. The hobo said that they're all dead or in limbo. The bagpiper says they do not exist but are dream figures of someone else's imagination, while the clown, Saturn, Satan, who ironically seems to be the most reasoning of them all, claims that they're all players in each other's dreams, but then suggests the answers to these questions are infinite, thus unsolvable and material. The Major then concludes that they are in hell. And what's interesting is in this episode, if you can find it, I'll try to find a link and put it below because it's an amazing episode. The clown tries to distract everybody and literally says, "Don't worry about this. Let's just mess around." And then they said, "No, let's try to get out of here." And the clown, he then participates and says, "Well, I go with the majority." And so the major suggests a plan to escape. They form a tower of people, a huge pillar, and each person on each other's shoulders. The plan almost works, but a loud sound shakes the cylinder and sends them tumbling to the ground. And they start all over again. That's exactly what it sounds like in this reality. So we get so close to figuring this stuff out and escaping, and then this bell rings, and we're knocked down another dimension or whatever, devolved, and we have to start all over again. And you'll see that they have put this thing, this Nazi bell, this possible mini-me, this possible pocket universe. I want to show you how they depict this thing. This is how it's depicted. And it looks to me that that's what all this stuff is. Now, I didn't just figure this out on my own. This is from watching a whole bunch of different people. This, to me, looks just like a bell. That's why there's no people. This is an awesome find by occult science. Here's Anakin. This is supposed to be him younger than Darth Vader, right? He grows up, and Darth Vader is evil and death. That's Saturn. Looks just like a bell to me. I don't think Arby's is a hat. I think it's a bell. There's a real popular show that's I live in the St. Louis area that's been running for decades called Show Me St. Louis. Looks like just like a big bell to me. It's all about the same thing. It's all about Saturn. It's all about the Stargate. Your UFOs, bell-shaped. Here's your Vatican keyhole, a bell. Here it is on Wheel of Fortune. History of the universe. Right here it says, looks like it's depicted as one big bell. Now, and I want to move on. There's a new episode of the show Community that just came out. In this episode, there's this guy who is wanting the power of God. He enters the virtual reality, and the creator of the virtual reality goes into the virtual reality program and says, "Do you really want the power of a God?" And the guy wanting the power says, "Yes, more than anything." The guy who created the program says, "I know how you feel. The sadder reality, the less real we want it." Does that not sound like today? I just want to be a good dean, the guy says, because he's the dean of the college. It all takes place at a college, a community college. And so the guy says, "I can give you a device that will accomplish that," and hands it over. And this is what he hands over to him. This is the same thing. This is the same thing as Cern. It's the same thing as a bell. Sometimes it's depicted as a square, a triangle, or a circle. Sometimes it's depicted as a keyhole. Sometimes it's depicted as just Cern. Here it is, an old school artifact, a Syrian artifact, where they're talking about the same thing. See? Your square, your triangle, your circle, it's the same thing. And notice the hole here. This is the wormhole. It's talking about how it tears open space and time. Remember? Here it is again, depicted as Cern in the Avengers Lego game that I just made a video of. Here's Cern smashing light. Here's the hole it rips open. This is all just a reference of the same thing. Now I want to talk about the Hindus, man, all the way back. That's why I want to show you how I don't think this is a myth. This thing has been around for even before that. They've been messing with the technology for thousands of years. Look at that. This is called a Vimana, V-I-M-A-N-A. It's considered the Hindus, they call these their UFOs, basically. This is what the Hindus said that the UFOs look like. Can you not see how it's the same thing as the bell? Because they use this thing to open the Stargate, and these demons come through, these UFOs, these aliens, whatever. It's the same thing to me. And if you watch the Groxt, you'll see he's shown this before. The same thing, Hindus. Looks like an old nuclear war from a long time ago. Here's the bell, here's the nukes dropping. And isn't it interesting that they're playing with Cern and you're hearing all this buildup of nuclear war between Ukraine and how about the whole Israel and Iran and all this stuff, North Korea? Isn't it coincidental that they're playing with Cern and it's a buildup of all this stuff, this nuclear war and stuff in the background? Because all this war and all this bullshit is just cover for them playing with Cern. That's all it is. Now I want to show you this guy, Robert Oppenheimer. What about Bob, right? Dr. Leo Marvin! Stupid movie. If you don't get that reference, don't worry, it's dumb. He's the father of the atom bomb, the atomic bomb. The first atomic bomb was detonated on July 16, 1945, in the Trinity test, right? Very interesting name, in New Mexico. Oppenheimer remarked later that it brought to mind words from the Bhagavad Gita. It's Hindu. And this is what the guy said that he quoted. This is what happened. I'll put the YouTube link below. You can hear it from out of his own words. Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds. This I am is Saturn. It's the cube, declaring itself as God. It's the ark. This is why in the Viacom logo, if you play Viacom backwards, you can clearly hear it say I am when it's played backwards, because it's the ark. It's Cern. It's the same thing. It's what, we'll get to more of that in just a second. It's what Charlie Brown's shirt is. It's because it's all referenced as it's also depicted as the Kabbalistic tree of life. I know it's kind of confusing, but you're just looking at the same thing. It's when this pillar works, is when the whole thing works correctly. Charlie Brown's shirt. I think it's also Homer's ear. You even got the G. It's supposed to be MG for Matt Groening, the creator of Simpsons, but I don't think that's it. Here's your arc. Here's your G for the gate, for the Stargate, just like in the Masonic compass. Here's the keyhole or the bell. See, here's a C, here's a C. They smash light. That's what I think it's what it looks like. It's what it's depicted as. So it's very interesting that he would say, now I am become death. After the atomic bomb, man. Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds. Saturn is the destroyer. This is all reference to the same stuff. The Bhagavad Gita. Wait till you see this. And this is a big Hindu thing. It's like they compare it to the Bible. The Hindu for the Bible for Hindus. It's a bell, man. If you type it in, Bhagavad Gita, this is the picture that comes up. It's the bell. Get out of this. Pull this up. I know it's a lot of stuff, man, but it's really all the same thing. It's the bell. It's the exact same thing. It even has the wheels on it for the cycle, because we ride a bicycle, not a bicycle. One wheel for the beginning, one wheel for the end. I am the beginning, I am the end. And that one really popular song in the 90s, closing time, every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end. Right? It's all the same stuff. And look, the Assyrians, this is Hindu, this is Hindu now. This is Hindu. Let me show you the Assyrians. We're talking thousands of years. I mean, they've been doing this stuff forever. See? Here it is. It's the bell. This is from an Assyrian artifact. It's the bell. It's the same thing. Look, it's even got the X, the Saturn X on top. It's not a cross, it's an X. It's right here. Here it is again. Here, I'll show you another one. Sorry, you get it. I got a bunch of stuff open here. Look, man, that's the same thing. They have been doing this for so long. It's ridiculous how long this has been going on for. The Hindus worship Saturn. That's what this is. I take all these multiple arms as like the octopus. They have their hands in anything. Besides, you see, this is, if you type in Hindu gods, this is what you get. It's standing in front of the light. It's the black sun. It's eclipsing the sun. It's what that is, standing, blocking the light. And to really drive it home how they've been doing this before, they've had many nuclear wars before, because all war is a cover for them playing with Cern. Here is Oppenheimer, the father of the atomic bomb, an interview at Rochester University 7 years after the Alamogordo nuclear test in July 1945. Whether that bomb exploded at however, during the Manhattan Project was the first one to be detonated, Dr. Oppenheimer's answer was short but extremely telling, and he said, well, yes, in modern times. Was the nuclear test in 1945 the first nuclear bomb to be detonated? He said, well, yes, in modern times. because this has happened a bunch of times before, man. A long, long time ago, and before that, before that, before that, been doing it over and over again. Gotta go. Thank you, subs. Out of time. Appreciate the support.